Hi there, I'm Chris Searles, and this is the quick version of the report on the recent project cooling Central Texas and then helping to bring rain. On March 19th, 2026, the National Weather Service predicted mid-90s through the end of March and into April. This is extremely warm for Central Texas. So I got to work the next day on March 20th, and I did about 35 strategic waterings with deep rehydration over the next 4 weeks. By April 15th, we had had 12 rains, no flooding, and we never got above 89 degrees Fahrenheit. A complete turnaround of the forecast. I built on that through June 20th, and so I kept watering for 2 more months. I did 38 more waterings, and my sites today are 100% out of drought deficit. We got progressively greater rains each of the last 3 months, April, May, and June, and what I'm doing is the high-end version of what anybody can do. So I'm trying to teach this right now. I'm trying to teach the accessible method. It's extremely simple, tree rehydration. It's as simple as human rehydration. My data on how well this works is the hundreds of field tests I've done in different settings around the country with different times of the year at different elevations with the same results. Against the odds, against the trends, against the forecasts, and each time I get these awkwardly impressive results. And when I try to talk about them, I just talk about them as they seem to be. You know, I water these trees and suddenly Oregon's getting rain. That was my intention, and now Oregon's worst fire season in history is open. That is over. That was 2024. I watered these trees, and now the Garnet fire has gone out. That was 2025. There's a lot more projects in between and before that. You can check the link below to see all my projects in the last 5 or 6 years. But it's not me. I am the catalyst, or the water is the catalyst, and I bring the water. So you could say I'm not the rainmaker, I'm the water deliverer in this process. It's the competency of the forest system once it's hydrated. The competency of the hydrated forest system that delivers the results. It's not me that can make this happen. So meanwhile, here we are in Central Texas after our worst 4 consecutive years of drought, probably ever. There was a drought in the 50s, but we have much higher temperatures now, and we have much greater development, much less wilderness on the landscape. We're extremely vulnerable to wildfire here, or at least we were. Today, while the rest of the country is, especially the West, I should say, while the rest of the West USA is dealing with heat waves and wildfires and drought and extreme weather, we in Central Texas right here still have yet to hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The last time we went this long, normally by July 4th we hit 100 degrees. The last time we went this long was 11 years ago, 2015. And if it keeps going, maybe it'll be even longer. So we have gotten record rains in this last 3 months. We have not had, of course, any fire. And this is all in the last few months since I began in late March. This is the data in its own right, speaks for itself. The forecasting predicted a completely different direction than the one we have gone in. The one we have gone in is the one I was watering for. Let's see, so the scope of the project is pretty simple. When I began on March 20th and I stopped on June 20th, I did approximately 72 waterings over that period of time, about 36,000 gallons of water. So that's a little more than 2 small backyard swimming pools. A backyard swimming pool that's small is 17,000 gallons. A large one is 20,000 gallons. I did 36,000 total over that period of time. I watered at 7 sites. My main site, Stunt Ranch, I did 45 or 50 waterings there, I'm assuming. And my home site, I'm constantly working in mine, that's where I am now, small ways. The other sites, some of them were just one watering, some of them were also a series of waterings, and I'll explain that more when I have time to do a written report, a longer report. And then I should say, this whole thing started as an experiment in cooling. I was working with live oak trees that were extremely droughted, drought stressed, drought damaged. The whole thought in my head was, well, let's just see if it works. Let's see what happens, because I know we can cool the landscape by watering these big live oaks, but will they work when they're this, dry? And I put it to the test. I did 2 waterings before we got to what was supposed to be a 95-degree heat day on March 21st, and instead of 95, as predicted by the National Weather Service and others, we had 89. And that trend continued. We couldn't even get into 90 until recently. Probably the latter half of June is when we really started to hit the 90s. We rolled all the way through March, April, May without any of that stuff. As the project unfolded, there were various phases. I will explain that in the longer report. I'm about to go to New Mexico and start watering in the Southwest. I leave this afternoon, so I don't really have time to put together a report on all this stuff, but I can tell you that we had 18 rains in April officially. I've already got at least 3 others that are trickle or rather drizzle rains that didn't chart officially, but we got more than nearly double the average, I should say. 85% of the average for April. We got 11 rains in May. We got 5.43 inches. That's something like 25% higher than normal. And we got 10 rains in June, 6.33 inches here at my home site, which is again nearly 100% more than normal. There were numerous predictions of severe weather throughout this whole 3-month process that here where I am in my main sites we never saw. We only saw soaking rains, light rains. We were told there were going to be thunderstorms with lightning and damaging winds. We were told there would be heat waves. We were told there would be potential flooding. Each one of those things never came true. We ended up with the best version of the weather that day we could possibly get, and I think it's because of the hydrated trees, because every time we ever get extreme weather predictions, anywhere I am on the road now, I go water the trees and we don't get the extreme weather. So numerous heat waves were squashed, starting with that first one on March 21st. That carried through that week. It came back again maybe 10 days later. I just kept moving in the way of building up the capacity of the forest system, and it kept shutting down. The bad news from the meteorologists. Now we're in a point where we basically are having perfect weather days. I call it Edenic weather. I actually honestly believe that we are in Eden and we don't know it. And we're destroying Eden thinking that this stuff has, just sort of background value, when actually it's the infrastructure of our life support system, all of this. And by knowing that and nourishing that, you see supernatural results. Supernatural. The nature system is ready to do superhero-like things once it has a little hydration. You can go to YouTube to see the real-life footage for the first 6 weeks or so of the project. There's just gobs and gobs of stuff in there to observe the process. It occurs like a kaleidoscope. There are consistent things that happen in a kaleidoscopic way. Some days you get more breezes, some days you get more clouds, some days the clouds are gauzy, some days they're heavy and gray. Some days you get a light transpiration breeze or rainfall. Some days you get heavy rainfall. It just depends, but you're getting the same portfolio of productive results every time you go through the process of watering a tree in this long, deep rehydration way that I explain in other content. And I'm trying to explain to everyone right now. We have a series on strategic watering that teaches exactly how to do that. It's the simplest thing in the world, and you just have to locate well and water with trickle buckets at the trunk. We have a Rainmakers Club where I share everything about how to do rainmaking with trees in a 4-page document. And we have activities that we're doing monthly there, and we're going to just sort of see how that grows. We have the Cool Breeze Challenge, which is also very easy. It's, take 2 buckets, 5-gallon buckets, water your tree, and when you're done, take another 2 to 5 gallons and pour the water down the trunk of the tree so it trickles on the trunk. You should feel a cool breeze within a moment or a few. And yeah, the reason we're pushing all this stuff is because it works. It works for 5 years now everywhere I've been: Oregon, California, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, mountains, valleys, you name it. Conifer trees, deciduous trees, different species of both. It works. It's so simple, and I don't know why it hasn't occurred to people before now to try this intensive rehydration slowly like I do. You try to bring a great rain, you try to put the tree into a lush state. I don't know why someone else hasn't tried it first, but I tried it and it immediately delivered the results I was looking for, and I tried it then 50 more times and it got the same consistent results, and now I've done it hundreds of times, and I'm trying to tell the world so that we can all benefit, so we can all get out of this heat wave extreme. extreme weather extremes, and most importantly to me, fire extremes. Let's get rid of the fire. The fire is, devastating. And of course it makes things worse heat-wise. All of this we can do for ourselves and for the good of the biosphere. The techniques are exceptionally water efficient. You can change everything with 7,500 gallons of water. Again, a backyard swimming pool has 17,000 gallons of water. We're talking about 7,000 gallons of water. Please try it. And please make a donation to BioIntegrity. Please support my work here. We are going to hopefully see humanity move forward on this over the next year as people become less resistant to something so simple being so powerful and beneficial for every living thing on Earth. And with that, I will see you in New Mexico. Again, please donate, support the work. Thanks for what you're doing. Let's make the future better.